And welcome to another episode of the In 90 Minutes podcast, where tonight the hunt is on. Or we're going to be talking about our team's journey, which kicks off this Wednesday with we'll call it high stakes wild card game, which we'll discuss. Is that part of the playoffs? Is it not? And we're gonna break down how our Lions tracked their prey all season long and what that means for fans and the club. So, gentlemen, I'm not gonna ask how you guys are doing because I can imagine, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it. But with me, as always, we have Misael, John, and David. Happy Monday, gentlemen. For those of you watching us, thank you for supporting the show and thank you for continuing to support the show. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Blue Sky, and Instagram as at In 90 Minutes Podcast. And you can always watch us there. You can also consume the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please follow all our socials with those same handles. Um, and before I open up the floor for some discussion, we are trying something a little different today. If you are live with us, we're going to be having a poll. I'm going to put a QR code on the screen if you want to scan it. And basically, what we're doing, and we're going to be checking in on this throughout the show. If I can find, yeah. And the poll is basically to ask you, will Orlando City make it past the play-in game? So you can vote in the chat, right? If you think that our last game will be against the Chicago Fire, in the chat, type hashtag fire. If you think we'll actually make it to see Philly, put hashtag Philly in the chat. All right. So hopefully this works out as planned, and I'll just keep reminding you and popping that up on the screen throughout the show. So, gentlemen, how are we all doing today? How's your weekend aside from the obvious? Anybody want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Probably one of the toughest weekends in a long, long time. It was sort of like seeing it come slow motion from a mile away, and yet I was not prepared for what happened after 90 minutes in Toronto. But we will discuss about that.
Yeah. John, Misael, anything to add before we dive in?
Pretty ho-hum weekend. Went to Disney yesterday to try to forget about Saturday night, but came home was still furious.
After the magic wore off,
Magic?
the Disney magic.
Yeah, I know.
After the Disney magic wore off.
I saw you getting some of that Disney magic at Epcot there, Miss Io, on social media.
Yeah, I was out there with some friends
Sipping on
doing the
that
same
Disney
thing as
magic.
well. I do want to say I think he's trying to get on Luke. If he's listening or if he happens to get on later, either way, I would like to say thank you to him for filling in for me while I was gone for a couple weeks there. Really appreciate that.
Yes, Luke was a great addition, and he's always welcome to join us again. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the season's battles, I called it. Right. So how did we end up here? How did we end up here, guys? Does anyone?
I mean, it's pretty simple to me. When you go, I put it on X, on my personal X. When you win one match in the last 2 months of the season, last 2 months of the season, or 5 matches the last 15 league matches of the season, that's going to do it. When you drop 13 points in the last 10 minutes, that's going to do it. Guess what? Before I even saw the guys say that on X, I did the quick math. If we don't do any of that, we're tied for the Shield right now. If we keep those points. And those three statistics, or you can even say two, the 5 wins the last 15 matches, that's winning 1/3 of our matches. If we did that throughout a season, we would have you know, what, 11, 12 wins, something like that, something like that. That's what, borderline criminal.
It's it's frustrating. I mean, we kind of called it last week when we were talking about the upcoming game. If you see how we've been playing since what? Since the Leagues Cup, honestly. Since halfway through the Leagues Cup and ever since then, we have not been playing the way we should. So if you are surprised, I don't understand why you'd be surprised, because that's how we've been playing. What we've gotten is a result of how we've been playing. And I called it last week. I said, if you think that we can't lose to Toronto, we can. And I literally said, all of the teams below Toronto this season, we have either drawn or lost to. So what happened? Unfortunately, I proved myself right. I just need to keep my mouth shut lately because every time I think something, but it's how we've been playing. It's how we've been playing, and I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Well, if you guys want to hear or see what Ahmed is talking about, you should go back to the at the 50th minute, 49th minute, 50th minute of the last episode. We predicted it scary actually because I didn't get to. I usually like to listen to the show, make sure that the audio is good. I when I say I listen, I just like skip every 10 minutes to make sure that everything is okay. And it just happened to fall on that minute, and we started talking about it, and it was as if we were coming from the future to talk about it. How we got here? Well, let's go month by month real quick. February, out of 3 available points, we got 0. March, out of 15, we got 10. April, out of 12, we got 6. May, out of 21, we got 11. June, out of 9, we got 6. July, out of 15, we got 8. 8. August, out of 9, we got 6. September, out of 9, we got 5. And October, out of 9, we got 1. In games where our opponent got red cards, which was 3 times, we got a win, a draw, and a loss. And in games where our team got a red card, we have 2 draws and 2 losses. So even when having numerical advantage, we failed to win, and that's on somebody. Right now, the fan base is trying to find culprits, and some people are blaming the manager, some people are blaming the players, but the reality, my friends, is that something went awry, and our season is a failure. Not only ourselves, but our friends from Orlando Lions Den, our friend Taylor Williams from Orlando City, UK, have called it what it is. This is not playoffs. It's not another team already is calling it that. No, it's a play-in game. We're on the outside looking in. And for those that don't understand that, if we win on Wednesday away in Chicago, then Saturday we have to go to Philly to play them. So we're gonna be the team at a disadvantage. Can it be done? Atlanta, led by the legendary Orlando City mastermind Rob Valentino, managed to knock out Miami in Miami. So that speaks of volumes of the quality of a manager that he is. Which, by the way, Atlanta fired their manager. Um, if you guys look at the teams per spending, you see that in the top 10, that's Inter Miami, LAFC, Atlanta United, Chicago Fire, LA Galaxy, Nashville, FC Cincinnati, and Red Bulls and Seattle Sounders. Basically, everybody except for Atlanta, quite possibly Chicago, LA Galaxy, and Red Bulls are making playoffs. But this is the interesting part of this list, that at the bottom of that list, we have Orlando, and below Orlando is Vancouver making playoffs, DC not making playoffs, Houston not making playoffs, and the at the bottom of this list is Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a Supporter Shield champion. So for the people saying, "Oh, we are here because our ownership doesn't want to spend money," no, you can't. Look at Philly. Look at Philly. It's MLS is so weird that you can spend a lot of money and still not make playoffs, and you can spend nothing, spend nothing, I should say, and you still, you know, I'm sorry, you can spend a lot and still not make playoffs, and you can spend nothing and still make them. So the situation that we have here, my friends, like John said, is we are winning and we wrestle defeat from the jaws of victory. That's what we've been doing. And sadly, is a situation where it was preventable. If we gone a point out of Vancouver, we would have been seventh on goal differential. We were in seventh on goal differential. So all those goals that everybody was like screaming, "Oh, club record!" They would have made a difference. We have said it in this show many times. Scoring goals is important in MLS because it's a tiebreaker. How we gone? How we had defended for 30 more seconds after VAR looked the other way and annulled a good goal for Vancouver. We could have pulled it off, but we didn't. And and to Toronto, bravo. You had nothing to play for, and you were like, we're gonna play party pooper to these guys, and you did what you had to do. Like we say all the time, football is not played on paper. And I finish with this: football is not played on paper; it's played on grass. And it doesn't matter that we lost we haven't won. They have not beaten us in Toronto since 2018, since the Jovinko era. It doesn't matter that they were five places below us. It doesn't matter that there was no hope for them to make playoffs. They went and they beat us. They beat us. They beat us. They beat us. That's all to it. We have to be gracious to our opponents. People blaming it on referees, people blaming it on spending, people blaming it on particular players, people blaming the League's Cup. I'm sorry. No, no. If you play the games that are in front of you, why is it that other teams can win side tournaments and make playoffs comfortably, like Nashville, like Miami, uh, et cetera, et cetera? It's not an excuse, my friends. We are just bad. And we had a steady decline over the years. And all those checks that we wrote out, all those chickens that we hatched came home to roost.
Well,
Thank
I
you,
mean,
dude.
David, to add on to what you were saying, though, I put it on the ownership because one, Philadelphia has 7 years on us to develop their academy and stuff. We're just now starting to see the fruits of our academy. They've been seeing it for 4, 5, 6 years. Some of their key players are from their academy.
That actually get playing time.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, you look at the teams that are newer, we're only 10 years old, 11 now. But, basically when we started the season, we were, our 10th birthday had just happened. And you have to spend money. Philadelphia aside, you look at the top teams in the league, they all spent money. And this ownership, when they came here, they said they were going to win trophies. They said that they were going to play exciting soccer. They said all this stuff, and they haven't backed it up. Anytime since the new ownership has been here, and I've said this multiple times, since the new ownership has been here, we have only brought players in out of need, not want. We've never brought players in to make our club better, to be better than the guy, to replace better than the guys already on the roster. Look at what Vancouver just did. Vancouver just did.
Mm-hmm.
They were what, second in the West, and they bring in Thomas Mueller. I'm not asking us to bring in retirees. I don't want us to do that.
I don't even want us to bring in big names.
No,
It's like,
well, I mean, big names, but they have to be the right big names.
Well, I
You
was
know,
gonna say, what's wrong
exactly.
with it? I mean, so far the big names. What's wrong with Mueller? What's wrong with Son? What's wrong with them?
Well, Son is a different story. Son's a little bit younger. Mueller's definitely at the end of his career. But you
not
look
that.
at somebody like a Rick
Yes,
Carlson. If they bring in Rick
look
Carlson,
at the
what's that?
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I was just gonna say, but look how he elevated them
Yeah,
some.
exactly. He's playing that role of leader that team probably needed.
Yeah.
We bring, Rick Carlson. Would he work out here? You see what's happened. If we keep the current manager, current coaching staff, you see what he's done to strikers that we've brought in. Now, Luke did bring up a point where Carlson has a very big, personality about him. Kind of likes to do things his own way. So I think, in a good or bad way, him and Poppy, like Luke said last week, would clash, which can be good. You need some of that friction in a team. Everybody can't be buddy buddy and best friends. You have to have those couple of players that they get along with everybody, but they're not, best friends with everybody. And I feel like, look at what Nani did. How when Nani was here, the team was, the team elevated until his last year when he was straight up told he wasn't getting renewed. Which I don't know why you tell a player that in the middle of the season, but to back to my point, the ownership either needs to come along this year and unload the pocketbook. Somebody put on X the Wilfs are worth of an estimated $5 billion. They can't, relinquish 1/1000th of that to,
Yeah.
or 1/100th of that to field a quality team. People are saying this is our best team ever. How is this our best team ever?
Yeah.
We replaced Facundo with a player valued less than him and older. We didn't have a striker. The only striker we had that was performing, we sold. We have the same left winger we had. Atuesta, who, yes, offensively was a addition over Cartagena, but defensively doesn't even compare. We have the same second midfielder. We have the same two center backs we've had the last 3 years.
I think people say that because it's very close to the team that we had last year. Since we made it to all the way to the conference finals, the furthest we've ever been. I'm assuming that's where they're getting that from.
Cool, you made it to conference finals. Who did we play? Teams under us. We didn't play. We weren't the number one seed.
Yeah,
We didn't deserve to play teams under us. We lucked into that. And it's been the same thing. We said it 2 years ago when it was just David and I, and Jonathan was on here too a little bit. We said it last year when it was the three of us and Miss Al joined, and we said it again this year. You guys said in our group chat you didn't want to say I told you so. Well, we told you so. We said this was going to happen, that we were very lucky the last 2 seasons to be in the positions we were. Under Poppy, we have never won a game we have had to win. Plain and simple.
So yes. I don't want to stop you, but we're gonna get more into that.
Yeah,
We're
no,
definitely gonna
definitely.
get more into it, right? But so because we're getting into the next topic, really, right? But before
Yeah.
we go on to that, from this season, right? Is there anything that stuck out to you guys as far as the players, the performances, people that did really well, people that really struggled, people that you're like, wow, one way or the other?
I've got a player and I've got a thing, but I'll let somebody else go since I just won.
For me, honestly, it was Gervais. Gervais surprised me, I think, the most because you didn't know what to expect with him. And being that it was his rookie season, I think he did an outstanding job. Not that the other players weren't outstanding, but there was a different level of expectation because somebody like Ojeda had been with the team. Someone like Pasalic had started, was just coming over. So they did what we expected. Gervais, I think, was a pleasant surprise. So I was just really bummed to see him injured at the end, hoping it's a speedy recovery for him. What do you guys think?
yeah, I'd agree with you with the Gervais. That was a big surprise. Um, and I guess coming later on, Spicer.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the dumps of Toronto on the bench, last guy on the bench or whatever they had him. Um, that was a big surprise. I remember when we first got him, a lot of people were upset, including myself. Like I did give him a chance, but at the same time, I did think, what is this guy going to give us if he's on the bench in Toronto, and the worst. Well, at the time was the worst team, I believe. So he was a big surprise. Other than that, I mean, I don't know.
I'm just
I
saying
can't
because
get
when you
too
look at
much,
it
but
like
I mean,
that, it's like that kind of talks about how we got here, right? Because those are the
yeah.
things. The players that we expect to perform finally started to perform to an extent until they stopped, right? So
Freeman got better.
yeah,
That's the guy I was going to bring up was Freeman.
Yeah.
yeah.
But with
Never.
Freeman is a player that all of us that have gone to OCB games sort of saw coming up. I think the surprise was
The
seeing
surprise is what he did though,
right as a
and how
starter.
how
Yeah.
quickly he did it. I mean, you saw
Yeah.
him on
Mhm.
OCB, and you're like, okay, he's graduated from the reserve team. It wasn't, but he wasn't like, oh my gosh, this guy, why is he here? It was okay. He's better than this. He's above this level. Let's see what he does at the next one. And then he came up and especially offensively, lit the league on fire.
I would like to mention something real quick because it's sort of gonna be a base for what we're gonna discuss throughout the show because it comes up all the time about well we always make playoffs on the roster. Um,
Sorry.
no, it's all right. This have been our finishes since 2015, since our first season in the MLS. We finished seventh in 2015, eighth in 2016, 10th in 2017, 11th in 2018, 11th in 2019, and 22nd overall. Our worst season for sure. We barely missed the wooden spoon, which went to San Jose. 2020 with 24 games in that season, the COVID season, we finished fourth. Then we finished sixth in 2021, seventh in 2022, which was decided on decision day itself. Second in 2023, which has been our best season so far. We missed the supporter shield by 5 points. And then in 2024, we finished fourth. And in 2025, ninth, yet to be determined if we're making playoffs. Now, one of the things that people say is we always make playoffs. In between 2015 and 2019, it was only top six. By today's standards, we would have made playoffs in 2015, 2016, and in 2020 to 2022, only top seven were making the playoffs. Uh, it is not until 2023 that we have this wild card game. So had this game been in 2023 on decision day, we would have been out of the playoffs. So well, I just want to remind everybody that the league has been moving the goalpost to make playoffs. So saying, "Oh, we always make playoffs," the league has made sure that we make playoffs because they have been moving the goalposts.
Well,
As, you
because they
know,
want to make it more lucrative for themselves. So
right, lucrative. Thank you, Ahmed. Lucrative, not
yeah,
necessarily good competition.
because not only did they do that, then they changed it where the first round was the best of three. Because what was happening is it was the top six, but then they were just straight elimination. So they said, you know what? We're going to add six more teams to this. And then the first round, you're going to get to watch three matches. Or I should say, you're going to get to buy tickets to three matches, right? Because now all of a sudden, instead of one game, they're selling three in each side, in each Eastern Conference and Western Conference, right? For every single tournament, for every single set of teams, I should say.
Can we read the comments before we
Yeah,
go?
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, they're piling up.
I'll bring them up, Misael.
Are you gonna? Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Jared Quackenbush said it's not the playoffs. If we win, then yes, we make the playoffs. But if we lose, we did not make the playoffs. It says so in the name of the game on Wednesday. He also goes on to say, unfortunately, I have no faith. I think we go out on Wednesday. You tell me, what has Orlando City done to give us confidence that we will win on Wednesday?
I
Because
agree.
we're
By the
built
way,
to hunt, Jared.
I just want to add I saw Jared at the game out against Vancouver with his brand new son. So once again, congratulations to you and your family, my friend.
Yep. Okay. Jim D goes along to say it's a long season. Trust the process. We just have to get hot at the right time. We couldn't refuse Enrique's offer. We made the playoffs again. Need time to gel.
And as we all know, Jim D is probably being sarcastic.
He's probably you're being sarcastic.
For sure. I have met Jim in person, and a funny guy. So Jim, hugs and thank you for always being there for us.
He also goes on to say, question: if we hang on to Poppy, does he eventually go out as a villain? I'm afraid of that happening. He does not deserve that. The front office is taking the easy route constantly instead of being brave.
Absolutely. And you know what I think, to add to that point, Jim D, I think that's on the front office to handle that the right way. But it's also about them not letting it backfire and blow up in their face.
Jared Quackenbush again says, "Ha, Jim, I never knew you to be so optimistic, my brother." Jim, Jim D says, "I hate all those slogans I hear every season." You don't like Built to Hunt?
Our old
You
team,
know, that could not have come at a worst possible time. Like, I thought all teeth was the icing on the cake.
I
Okay.
forgot about that one.
But
All
this
T.
this really just hit the nail on the head, and now it's kind of working against us. So
Ray says, all trust has been trampled like gel on the feet of MLS players' boots. Jim D goes on to say, veteran leadership is huge. Did you see when we went down by 3? All the players were looking around like, what is happening? What do we do? They looked lost and their faces showed it. Ray goes on to say, Freeman's rise from January till now was great. I think Janssen proved he should be MVP, maybe more than this year. And Victor says they adding more playoff spots because they keep adding teams. It's really no different from any other U.S. professional sport.
yeah, but I think when they did it, though, they did it more. I think it was before, maybe they knew they were going to be adding teams, but I really think it was just because they wanted to bring more teams into those playoffs and changing the format to, I mean, adding, yeah.
I mean, I may be wrong, but I feel like that the MLS is the only league that 2/3 of the teams make
the-
playoffs.
Yeah.
66% as of right now makes the playoffs. If you ask me, man, top 4 single elimination, let's go. It's already late October.
Whoa.
Crap happening. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah.
just cut it and let's go. Why is it that we have to wait all the way till December? Because it's not fair to the team that actually goes to the teams in plural that actually go to the final, because those guys, their off season is none. Our off season was 6 weeks, and we made the conference
Yeah.
finals.
It felt like 2 weeks for me, and we were already back.
Well, I
That was
mean,
crazy.
I think top 4 is a little strict. I mean, top 6 I think was a
I like the six,
good
yeah.
number.
Yeah.
If you do top 4, I'd love to see them do top 4, but do a 2-round aggregate, home and away aggregate then.
Yeah.
Make it a little more interesting, but I feel like with single elimination and only having 4, it's a little
He says NBA brings in 20 or
Very.
30 if you can't play in like MLS.
Okay.
That's
and we see how the NBA is doing right now.
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. So for those of you watching with us, if you didn't hear it earlier, we do have a poll going on. So in the chat, if you can, put hashtag fire if you think the hunt ends at this play-in match, or hashtag Philly if you think we move on to the first round of the playoffs. So that brings us to the next topic, or the next set of topics about the league. Is this the same league of 10 years ago, 5 years ago? What about the fan culture? What about off the field, the management decisions, the ownership stances? I personally think that the league, we've seen a change in the league, right? And to your point, I think you brought it up, John, where the teams are signing players. The level of play is They're raising the bar. Some teams are, not all the teams are, and I feel like that's partially where we're lacking, right? And that's why we're seeing this struggle. Why last year we're finishing in second, and this year we're struggling to be in ninth, right? I mean, you have to be able to keep up with that, regardless of how you do it. It's not as a fan. I don't care how you do it. I just care that you do it because if my team one year finishes in second place and it gets to the conference final, I'm expecting them at least to actually make the playoffs in one of the, and have home field advantages like top four. I'm not saying it has to be everything is, daisies and peaches and pixie dust, but I mean, give me a break. So what do you guys think about this topic?
Yeah,
We
I
have,
think
we have a
it's
lot to talk about in this one. So
even 5 years ago, I think it's leaps and bounds. 10 years ago, it's not even recognizable.
Mhm.
Um, you look at where the level of play is, the players that we're bringing in, players that have left the MLS, that are coming back because maybe it didn't make it, maybe they didn't do well in other leagues, but they're still coming back. They're not, you know, going to a lower division and in Europe. They're coming back here. Um, you look at the players that are being sold now to European clubs or Brazilian clubs, that are getting significant minutes. Pretty much, if a MLS player goes to anywhere but the top five leagues, they're you know uh, essentially a starter on that team. Um, you look at the development, the youth development that's coming out of the academies all over the league now. That wasn't happening 5 years ago. It was kind of happening, where you had the Aaronsons, and Tyler Adams kind of start that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a completely different league. Style of play has changed. Um, and it's yes, Philadelphia has one of the lowest, if not the. I think David said it's the lowest payroll in the league. But outside of them, you look at what Charlotte did. You look at who Nashville brought in. You look at who New York City brought in. You look who Cincinnati brought in. All five of those teams or four of those teams were spent a lot of money in the offseason and over the summer on transfers. And I spoke earlier about what Vancouver and LA did, who they brought in. I mean, Son. I mean that if he's not a world class talent, he's you know a half a step under that. Any fan of the sport, I feel like no. If you say Son, and you're talking about soccer, people know who you're talking about. For him to come here at what 30, 31 years of age, and still be performing the way he was performing in the Premier League. Um, you know, believe he was the captain of his team of who was he with? Was it Tottenham?
Yeah.
Tottenham, yeah.
Yeah, he was the captain of Tottenham, perennial Premier League team. Um, so we're attracting talent from Europe. We're attracting talent from essentially all over the world now, and we're getting better and better coaching here. Um, we have it's unrecognizable. We could make a whole episode on how and why the league's different than it was 5 or 10 years ago.
Well,
I
one of the
mean, yeah, when we came in 2015, sorry, David. When we came in 2015 to the MLS with Kaká, I believe we didn't even have VAR. I don't think we got VAR till like 2017 season.
that is correct,
Um,
and the league was much smaller. In fact, um, I believe we have added 10 teams since we came into the league. Uh, this is 2015 was the big push of what we recognize now as a modern MLS. Prior to that, the league had languished. The league went down to 8 teams after 2001, almost disappear in those next 7 years, and then grew to 10 teams, and then had a little bit of expansion, and we come into that picture. Um, I have to I have to remind everybody that our 2015 team was different. We had two DPs. We didn't have three DPs that year. Our first DP was Kaká, as everybody else knows. Now, let me ask you guys, who do you think was our second DP in 2015? Real quick.
Wasn't it Breck?
No, I thought so too. By the way, any takes?
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Brian Roches from
Oh
Honduras,
wow.
who we then after. By the way, how Brian Roches worked himself out of a job was he went to a under 22 championship with Honduras to New Zealand, lost his passport, took him 3 months to get one and return to the United States. And then when he did, at that point, we discovered a young Canadian man named Kyle Aaron that was cheaper and that was better. So what we do? We relegate him to the bench where he just gets worse, and then we send him in 2016 on loan to OCB where he got worse. His attitude, he felt he was entitled to be a starter in the first team, and then rode the pine for a little bit, and we traded him to Atlanta. That in two training sessions decided Tata Martino decided this is not the guy for me, and they sold him to Nacional, the team, the boyhood team for Cristiano Ronaldo in the Alano Madeira. If you know anything about Portuguese geography, Madeira is to Portugal what Alaska is to us, and the Azores are to Portugal what Hawaii is to us. So, I mean, you're in the Portuguese league, but you're in one of the most remote teams. It takes like 5 hours just to get to your closest opponent. That's what happened. Our team was basically built with Kaká, who obviously was in decline last years of his career. We had a lot of guys that we got on the reentry draft, a lot of guys that we got on the expansion draft, a lot of guys that we got from the college draft, and we brought in our seventh best players from the USL era. The reason why Orlando City was so good in USL was because we outspent everybody else. We brought players that had no business playing at that mediocre level that USL Pro was at the time. And for those that missed it, you can go and watch the games on YouTube. They're still available from 2011 to 2014, and you see that we were not. I'm not gonna say head and shoulders. I'm gonna say a waist and everything else, torso above everybody else. Look at the teams that we played and where they are right now. Some have disappeared. Some are in the championship. Some are in League One. Some of them are in League Two. So what I'm saying with this is what made us a contender was we spend money and we have wise signings. Another thing that has fallen through the cracks: who's our face? Who's our leader? John shared with us that post of Mueller basically rallying the troops to go to war. If you remove the football jerseys and you put uniforms on them, you think these guys are about to storm Normandy. And it's one thing that all of us in our private conversations we have said that. Where's the Nani? Where's the Kaká? Where's the Adrian Heath? The greatest moment for Adrian Heath in this club, aside from his quote of "goals change games," which everybody still uses that. The most legendary is when he got red carded at Camping World, and he was being pushed by the police, thrown into the tunnel, and he's like fisting, like this, and people are just going bonkers. People
Best
love
day
him.
ever.
People love him. Was he the best manager? We could discuss that, but he was a guy that was on the radio in the mornings, the guy that was on his own show, the coach's show, the guy on Tuesday nights on 104.1. I used to watch that religiously out of Harry Buffalo. I still remember. And you could text questions, he will answer them. One of the things that we need to remember. By the way, he was also on Soccer Cast with Tom and Dan. I have to say that as a club, we have lost that mentality of pumping people up. And I like Oscar the person. We have said that before. And when Oscar makes himself available and vulnerable to have you and me ask him questions uncensored, they give you the microphone. As long as you're not cursing or whatever, you can ask anything. What do people do? Instead of saying grilling him, because they're sure as heck they love to do that on social media, with their thumbs. They are Billy, Billy Guns. But then when they're in front of the guy, what ice cream do you like? Boxes or briefs? I just love you, Oscar. I just love you. No, the purpose of the event is for you to lay out a vision and for the manager to understand, take a temperature test of what the fan base is looking like. Okay. And John and I have been to games where Oscar is sitting right behind us, and we don't go and attack the guy or whatever. Sometimes we wave, sometimes we just let it be. I just don't understand, because on Facebook, to say some things on Facebook, once again, the happy clappers and the cornhole champions have come out of their slumber. They're saying the fat lady is not singing. We still have a chance. What if we lose Wednesday, my friends?
You
What if
know,
we lose? What happens then?
it's funny. You see all the comments on social media, David, and it's funny because we were talking about it, and it's like you see people saying what we're thinking, and then you see people saying things are going to be fine, and I just find myself continually thinking to myself, when are we as a fan base going to expect more? Because for me, I think the Wilfs and every other league, every other ownership, front office, whatever you want to call it, they're going to say, as long as the fans aren't complaining, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. So what we have right now, that's what we're going to get. And this has nothing to do. Don't say, oh, you don't like. I don't care which side of the conversation you're on right now. This is not about Poppy in, Poppy out, and all of that stuff. The What I'm talking about is what our expectation is of our team, right? The other day I was sitting at a restaurant and I saw a post about the UF, the University of Florida. My daughter went to the UF, and they just recently sacked their lead, their coach. This is not about the coach sacking, right? This is about what they said. They said the standards and expectations for Gators football are to win championships, not to simply compete. We exist to win, and we will not settle for less. So my question is, when are we, as an Orlando City fan base, going to set that type of a standard? Because if we don't set that expectation, the ownership is not going to. Because they're going to say, we made playoffs for a seventh year. Be happy.
Well, Atlanta United just got rid of their manager after the first year, and I believe the first statement that they posted on X was, "We want more for our fans. Our fans expect
That's why,
more."
and that's my point. So I don't want
And
anybody to say
basically,
that
that
I'm
was
saying
the
get rid
reason
of.
they were saying why they sacked
Yeah.
him.
This is not me saying Oscar needs to go. This is me saying, when are we as fans going to demand more? Not say, oh, you guys are just being the naysayers. You guys just want to be negative. It's not about being negative. It's, I want more for my team. And for me to say
And
that we're doing better now, you know what? I got news for you. We're not,
I
because
mean,
we're not in the playoffs. We are not in the playoffs.
no, we're not.
Posting that we clinched. We have not clinched until we are in that match with Philadelphia, because that is the first game of the playoffs. If we don't make it there, there's no clinching, and they need to take back what they said. That is not a stat that would be actually legitimate, because this is not the playoffs.
Absolutely. And we got to remind everybody that the manager for Atlanta won an MLS Cup with New York City. So it's just not some
That
chump.
was against that again.
Right,
Just
right.
like Atlanta's one championship should. That that the NYC should have an asterisk because they played against a team that had to bring up reserve players that weren't even
Absolutely.
playing. because
Yeah, the
half
COVID,
their
the
team had
COVID year.
Well, they say the same about our Open Cup. So they want it. I
Open
mean,
Cup's
fair and
different.
square.
You play who's in front of you. The people want to say that about the Open Cup. There were 5 other MLS teams that we played, 4 other teams that MLS teams that we played, and eventually one we beat in regular time. The rest we won in penalties. They would have been in that game. And actually, 2 of the loudest fan bases that try to say that we beat in penalties, so they can't even they should just shut their mouth. And as far as expectations, I was thinking about this last week, this past week, that I think the true fans of Orlando City expect greatness out of our club, expect trophies, expect an attractive style of play, and expect all of that. The problem is you have the Karens of, as David puts it, the cornhole tailgate champions and happy clappers, or Luke says, what's he call them? The prawn cocktail brigade.
Yeah, the prawn cocktail brigade.
You have those people that police social media so hard and attack, not even just saying names, personally attack people. David's an example of, his family being attacked on social media to police what they think the club should be. And these people seem to take it extremely personal if you say something negative about the club. If you watch what this club has done since mid-July and say anything about it other than beating Miami, anything that this club has done as a whole since in the last 3 months has been positive, you need to seek psychological help. I'm just going to say that. It's gotten to that point. When you win 5 of 15 matches, when you have 4 games that are essentially must-win games and you don't win one of them, you get beat 4-2 in an absolute must-win game just to make the playoffs and not be the 8th or 9th seed, and you lay an absolute dud like they laid on Saturday. This club is not in a good place. I feel like the real fans have been silenced by a minority of this fan base. Now,
A handful of people.
yes. Now, that being said, there has to be those people, the people that are just there to have a good time. The casuals have to be there. Even people, whatever a step above casual would be, where they, follow the club. They go to a couple games. We know everybody's not going to take it as seriously as we do. Then but that's there's other shows for those people. This is the show for the serious fan, for the fan that wants to know what actually is going on, what I'll say people that take this seriously and want to see their team win aren't just there for a good time, what they think. And, our club stinks right now. We expect our club to play an attractive style of play and to win trophies.
But John, we've never scored this many goals in a season.
Who cares? It's like when I was canceling my season tickets, which again killed me. I still at least 4 times a week start thinking, should I just renew them? Should I just sign back up and so we can, whatever. And then Saturdays roll around and it's like, nope, I am not doing this. So, because yeah, cool. We have the top 3 leading scoring designated players. We scored the most goals in club history.
But it doesn't mean anything.
But it doesn't mean anything. It's all. It's like saying. It's like the people that go, oh, I want this. I want that. I want this. Cool. Do you have what it takes to purchase those? No.
Look at all they do.
And our team it's obvious with what the social media team's been doing the last 2 weeks. Realize how much they were pushing Marco starting for Croatia and his performance last Sunday. Realize what they came out with this past week with Adrian Marin. Realize, how they've really been pushing this, consecutive playoffs record and most points since whatever year. I didn't even fully look into that graphic that they shared because I just rolled my eyes. They're just trying to sell us fluff into what David said. The one thing that you can respect about Heath, other than his ability to rally people around him, is I never felt in his press conferences that he was reading from a script. They always came from his heart. And Poppy, you can tell when things are coming from the script and when they're coming from how he thinks. And I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to go with it, with where I was at. So that's one thing you can really respect with Heath. And then the last point I'm going to make, and then we can continue, is was it Jim said something about leadership? We've said that for a while. Yes, Janssen is a good captain, but when have we had a player since Nani that you can say he's the leader of the team? He's the one that's going to push the players, through the thick of it, and he's going to buckle them down and say, "Let's go, let's do this. We're winning this game." You don't see that. You see when we go down to 10 men. You saw it last week when Janssen went down. You saw it this past Saturday. It's like the players are looking around to everybody which way, and they're like, "What do we do?" Even when Janssen was on the field, and there were times that the team and the coaching staff looked absolutely lost. And the Miami game in the Leagues Cup is a perfect example of it. When Miami put in their second goal to take the lead, the coaching staff looked like they didn't know what to do. The players didn't know what what looked like they knew what they needed to do. And it's like, guys, come on. And by the way, Ahmed's talking about a college team, 19 to 22, 23-year-olds, 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, not
but an organization
money now, but not legitimate professionals that do this for a living.
But it's an expectation. It's an expectation of your team. And that's what it's like for me. That's what it's about. This is not about saying the leadership must go. It's that when are we going to start to expect more from the organization? Because if we don't, as fans, we're not going to go anywhere. At that case, I might just as well support my Orlando City South U14 team because I'll probably get more return on my investment in that case.
No, absolutely. And I want to share this with you guys. The guys already know what I'm about to say. My Israeli team, Maccabi Haifa, just fired this morning their manager, Argentinian Diego Flores. And this is a quote from a front office staffer when interviewed about the reasons why they were letting him go. By the way, this man got hired in August and is October 20th, and he's gone. The answer from the front office was, we felt that under Diego Flores, our team was preventing the opponent from playing football. That's savage. But again, if it, and by the way, this guy replaced a guy that won them 3 championships in a row. So we say it once, we say it twice, we say it all the time. This and Oscar will tell you because he has told me in the face. And you know what? I'm not making this up because Misael and Ahmed were there when we saw him at the event at the in Kissimmee at the training facility. And you guys can call me out. I mean, Oscar recognized me, talked to me, took pictures with Ahmed and his son, was super nice. We have Luke here, so I'll make it quick. And he will tell you that he it is an industry that is results driven. People will forgive you if you lose a game here and there. This past Saturday, all 3 of my teams lost. All 3 of them. The difference is Maccabi Haifa was underperforming. They decided to fire the manager. Stevenage lost. They still second. They were number 1 at that point. Now they're number 2 in the league with a game in hand. And people are like, okay, well, it's the second defeat of the season. We started in August. We're good, all forgiven. But Orlando City, this was a must win. This was a must win. We had a win in 7 games, by the way, which was a miracle that we won that game, because otherwise it would have been a tie. Guys, we would have gained a point out of Toronto or out of Vancouver, and we're not talking about this. We're talking about Cincinnati on Saturday, but that's life.
But
Yeah.
and I want to bring up a question to all you guys. Is you look at what happens in Europe, or especially what's happened this year. I feel like it's more than usual, but the amount of managers getting fired at pretty big clubs. Rangers, Maccabi Haifa is a pretty big club in Israel. You look at Nottingham Forest just fired their manager. How many clubs do you think, after we lost the semifinals here at home last year, how many clubs do you think would have fired their manager over that?
Oh, I can. I listen. My club fired their manager right before, which I still don't get why, but they fired him leading up to the FIFA Club World Cup. So their matches, they played like trash during that tournament. They fired him after their regular season started, after 3 matches in, and then we just signed a new manager now. So to answer your question, very few.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll also say that's because there's a different level of expectation from their fan base. I feel like there's a different level of connection between the fan bases and the teams in the States and the fan bases in the teams outside of this country, right? It's like we said you would never have this. This would not be acceptable. I mean, yeah.
But
So
I mean, we've talked, but that's kind of proving my point. Is and I know it's going a little bit off topic of where we were, but some people asked on X, what does Poppy get another year? And to me, this year was his year, his extra year. Because I'm sorry, you lose a semifinal at home against a team that finished well below you on the table, and you lose in the fast. You lose going out whimpering like we did.
yeah, even
You know,
even if we were to make it into the playoffs and go somewhere, I still think there's an issue with where because I don't want people to think, oh, if we go past Cincinnati, we play Philadelphia, we made it to the playoffs, we're good. This is not a successful season by any means whatsoever. And I agree with you 100%. I don't, but I think that's a conversation that has not happened with that front office and Oscar, to say there needs to be that conversation to draw that line in the sand and say this is the expectation. I don't think that's happened. I think it should happen, but I honestly don't think it has, because if it had, we would be in a different position right now. Because every time we've heard rumors of, there was a conversation, and if Oscar didn't perform, it would be a different story. Guess what? There was a performance. So
yeah,
Guys,
no, I was going to say the same exact thing. You look at what happened at the beginning of the year. He had, extension coming up, except for the opening match. We looked pretty good. And then all of a sudden we had a run of draws, which led into, June. And we had an okay June. We only played 3 matches. We had an okay June, and then brought on July. And, like I said, I think it was July 13th was the date that I went back to, was our last 15 matches. We only won 5 of those.
guys, the club posted this. I'm sorry, John. The club posted this thing. We have 308 points in the last 5 seasons, which put us 4th overall. Philadelphia being top with 326. But I'm sorry, admin. Can you clarify this? Okay, so Orlando City.
David, that's the point. That's the point me and Ahmed are making. Who cares about those fluff stats?
Absolutely.
We could have scored 100 points in the last 6 years. But if we got that star, that's all we care about.
Now, that's what I was gonna go into. Philadelphia, Final for the MLS Cup and 2 Supporter Shields. LAFC, MLS Cup, U.S. Open Cup, and 2 Supporter Shield to go with that. Columbus, 2 MLS Cups. I'm sorry, like you said, we wanna all of a sudden grab
And
uh, straws.
didn't Columbus make a Champions League final as well?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So not this. Oh, we play
posts were made.
Mexico and bow out, playing the same way we bowed out of every playoffs under Poppy, playing scared. Columbus.
The club made those 2 posts also, coincidentally, after several hours of people just going nuts on social media about how bad it's going for us. And then all of a sudden they made those 2 posts, and
And
I
like, it's
think
not that bad. The sky is
it
not
was to
falling.
it was to try to like remind everyone, like, I guess, of how good, I'm doing air quotes for whoever's just listening, how good we've been the last 6 seasons under Poppy. I think that's what they were trying to do, because they hear all the chatter. But like you said, John, it doesn't really mean anything if we are where we are right now, and if we don't even make it past this game, it means absolutely nothing.
So, welcome, Luke. Welcome to the party, my friend. Thank you for joining us. We would love to hear your thoughts on what we've been talking about. If you have any thoughts, gee, let me think.
Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, for some reason, I don't know what's going on. The camera's not working. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
we can see you and hear you.
Oh, you can't? Then what's going on?
We can see you, but it's going in and out.
Yeah.
Is it
The
going in
camera.
and out? Kind of.
The camera, not the audio.
Right now,
I
you're
see
fine.
it perfectly.
Just don't
All
touch
right.
it, and we'll be fine.
All right. So basically, right. So okay. So it's been a long season, hasn't it? It's been.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, but I've never sat here and after an Orlando game, and I texted my mates, and I was celebrating that we got a playing game, an away playing game, because as you lot know, over the last 3 months of the last 3 months of the season, it's been like no short of awful, like possibly some of the worst football we've produced in a very long time. And yeah, I was like, it got to a point where I'm like, thank you. You got into that away playing game, so we didn't have to give you more money. Because obviously, if you're on a season ticket, like you get automatically billed immediately when the 90 minutes ring, despite it, like if you play good or bad. If they win, they win, and then you get billed like on midnight for like the next game, and I don't. It's this money grab thing, and I feel like if you think about it and you think about what we deserve as fans, we're grateful not to watch that team possibly. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we were going back and forth between 8th and 9th, depending on how that Chicago match ended, I had my app up, my banking app up, and was going to lock my card for the night and just not pay it and not go. Because I'm sorry, I'm not wasting my time in the middle of a work week for a game that's going to start at 8:30, not get over till at least 10:30. So that means I'm not now that we live up in Apopka, that means we wouldn't get home until close to 11:30 or midnight, just to go watch the team sit back and defend for 90 minutes and hopefully bring it to extra time and penalties.
It's not even the playoffs.
It's not. Thank you. We keep saying it. We keep saying it. I'm sorry, admin. You are not gonna spit on our cupcake and call it frosting.
Well,
No.
it's because what
Nah,
the league does consider it the playoffs. I will say that, but
nah.
I know,
anybody with a working brain that has any common sense whatsoever knows it's not the playoffs.
You know what? I would argue the two teams that are remaining are fighting for that spot. I would respect
Yeah.
it more if you said that, which is actually what it is. These last two teams are fighting for that last spot.
You could hype it up
Right.
in another way.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
just
That's what
don't
I'm saying.
lie.
But
Yeah.
don't say we already clinched because one team is not.
One team is not going to make it. And
Exactly.
let's be realistic. Like, with recent form, we're not making it. Like, we just lost to Toronto. Let's that set in. Then, it's...
Yeah.
Thank you.
If we,
Thank
put
you,
the,
Luke.
if we put the performance against Chicago we put up against Toronto, we will lose 6
Absolutely.
at 6-0.
Statistically, obviously, we always say that football's played on grass, not on paper. But statistically, if we couldn't beat Toronto, who is in worse form than a hot Chicago, I'm sorry. I don't think it's gonna happen. I got some questions that were made to us on our Instagram.
Yeah.
The first one is from Purple Citrus _ 407. Question: How can the club, from the owners and front office to the players, regain the faith and belief of the supporters between now and 2026, step by step? And Julio Santos asked, Is a finals run the only way Oscar saves his job, and reasons he should be fired even if he wins the cup? Some loaded questions there.
I'll go ahead and take both of those to start off.
So let's move on, right? So this is a perfect segue. So now we're moving on to the playoffs and beyond. So
Yeah.
what are our expectations for the team?
Playoffs?
And beyond?
Yeah,
Listen,
really,
I'm
really
being
good.
optimistic here, okay? I'm being optimistic, saying we're gonna see a different team on Wednesday, then we're gonna see a different team on Saturday, and that team is going to revolutionize what it means to play the sport in the MLS. But what happens? So
Really
what
quickly,
happens if we
man,
win? What happens if we lose? So
what's the poll looking like? Because every time you put it up, I can't see the numbers.
I'm just checking. Let me see. Let's see where we're at right now. Hold on. Let me bring it up. I'll share it on the screen here. Give me a second.
But to me, it's small. I can't see.
I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna make it big.
I can't
Oh,
see it.
okay.
I'm gonna give me a second here. As of right now, it is 69% saying that we're first round and done. 31% saying we'll make it to the first round and play Philly.
Okay.
Whatever happens, I don't know. Whatever happens, we're not making it. I'll say that right now, and you can clip this in and edit somebody. We are not making it to that final.
Come on, man. Be optimistic. What's wrong with you?
To be honest, we do have a chance because we play like we're away from home every freaking game. Anyway.
Oh, it just changed. Oh no, it's just the same. 69.
No, it's the same.
Yeah. We play like we're away from home.
Yeah.
If anybody can win, what is it?
I saw Chicago fans on X saying that they were worried about how supposedly they're not really good at home and that we score a bunch of goals. Like,
Well, yeah, if you look at it on paper, we score a bunch of goals, but you look at the last 2 months of the
We
season.
scored 2 goals the last game. That's a lot of goals. What happened?
and the other team scored more.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, Luke's attitude, I've been told by some real fans and on Facebook, is the wrong attitude to have, and we need to get out of their club because we don't need that. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna say it as cocky as I can be.
My friend,
I've been
it's called
following this club since 2011 when I got free tickets because my wife was working at Orlando Health, and I went to see a bunch of dudes that I never heard of. Since then, I've been following Orlando City. When you can prove to me you've been there since the very beginning, then you come and tell me that I need to get out of your club.
Wait,
Anyway,
David, did they say something about me?
Yeah, you're attitude.
Listen, they attacked me because in this club, in this fan base, there's only one person less hated than me, and that's our friend JJ from Orlando Lions. Then, and probably JJ is happy that I have a big mouth
You've
and
taken the you've taken the lead.
right, I'm taking the heat. JJ and I have been brutalized by the Happy Clapper crew and uh, uh, the tailgaters, the tailgate grillers, the tailgate.
Hey, watch those tailgate grillers.
No,
They're
no, no,
they're
no.
I
David.
My
I'm
know,
friend,
bringing
right?
in the grill
Wait,
every
some of
match.
those
my
tailgate
friend.
grillers are
Great.
really
By the
good.
way,
Thanks.
John, incredible, incredible. He knows. But I'm talking about the people that are there for anything other than the football. Those dudes, they really have to put the hate on somebody, and I've been their whipping boy for a very long time. And and this is what gets them mad is that the people in the front office like me, and the people in the team like me. Our manager likes me. Player family of there's players and their families who watch this. Why I don't know, but that's what it is, And I've been told by people whose name are gonna be remain nameless. The people here know who I'm talking about. That tell me the time. Thank you for the support. You're the only guys out there who are just being honest, and we appreciate that. In fact, some of the things that we have said on this show have been implemented by the club. So thank you very much to the
Well,
people
and,
that are
and what
watching, the
David
right
is saying
people.
goes back to what I was saying is how, I feel like the majority of people out there are share a lot of the same opinions we share, but they've been silenced by
Right? They don't want, yeah, they
a
don't want to
very
get the
small
heat. I get it.
minority.
Well, because
You
we're
know,
being critical of the team. We're being critical of the organization. I'm not going to say the team because the team puts it just on the players and the coach. We're being critical of the organization as a whole, and what our expectations are of them. And that's not something people say. Well, why do you have to be like that? Just be happy that you have a team. No, because you know what? My son plays U14 soccer. The coach, you know what his focus is? Winning. He's going to play certain players and not others because he needs to win. And that's U14, right? You're going to have
Yeah.
parents that are upset, and I'm being nice right now, that their kid is not playing. But you know why? Because the coach and the team are focused on what? Winning.
Don't go that far, my friend. My
Results.
my youngest son just tried out for his high school team,
Uh-huh.
and he scored 2 goals. He was very good, but he did not get picked. And I told him, I said, I knew that was gonna happen. He said, how did you know that? Like I saw all the kids that play in academies or play travel football showing up with their bags and their equipment, and the you're just a kid that played like U8, U9, quit, and now wants to, the state of foot. And by the way, Miguel Gallardo is involved with the girls' side of my son's high school. I'm not gonna say the school, obviously, because then the people that hate me know where I live, and then they're gonna try to leave nasty notes like in my old house. That used to happen, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
They'll drive into my house and leave nasty notes. But I'm the
Wow.
bad guy. I'm the person that needs to be kicked out of supporter groups. But anyhow, the fact, my friends, is that's what's happening. You got, and I told him, I said, that guy wants to win. The coach, that guy wants to win. He doesn't want to give you an opportunity to represent your school and have a good time. You want to do that, we'll find you a rec league. But the reality is that, like Ahmed said, these people want to win, and I don't understand how in our fan base people are comfortable spending time, money, tolls, gas to go and see that. Maybe perhaps is because I don't partake in the grilling and throwing the cornhole and high fiving people and going to get my free shirt or scarf or my little sample of Spice World garlic, or you know what I'm saying, or get the ticket for Publix to win $150 gift card, because I don't do any of that. Maybe because I don't do any of that. I just come running like a maniac, leaving synagogue with basically people words in their mouth. I shake hands. See you guys next Saturday. Run, feed my family, blah blah blah. Jump in my car and get there with enough time to watch the football. Maybe it's that. Perhaps is that. So I don't know.
and
I, I,
real
I,
quick,
I
David, real
will
quick,
say
David.
that.
You're not the only one here that's been quote unquote kicked out of supporter groups. You got two other guys in here that hold band letters from the Ruckus.
I
so.
know that.
Probably the youngest ever, by the way.
Really quick to touch on what you were saying, David. I strongly believe part of it is Orlando culture. I'm from up north where we will boo our own team. We will boo our own team. We will boo our own team 2 minutes into the game. Like it doesn't matter. Like New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Chicago. Like these cities, they expect winning, and their culture is just different. And here, with going to Orlando Magic games and stuff like that, it's just different down here.
I would.
I'm not saying it's everybody,
but it's changing. But it's changing. But
But
we need,
you see UCF though, and how UCF fans act when they have a bad season. It's no, I mean, look at them now. They're in panic mode, and because they've had a bad start to the season. You see Gators
Yeah,
fans. You see, I mean,
Yeah, it's tradition, right? People don't take
Yeah.
it as seriously. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
There's the few of us. There's the few of us that do take it seriously, take this game seriously, and then there's some people that I believe that go to Orlando games and they don't know what's going on. They don't,
which is fine. Which we need.
which
we
is
need
fair
those
enough.
people.
But
Yeah, you need the casual.
which is fair enough, right? If you don't understand what's going on. But if you're avidly engaging and avidly learning about the game, then,
No,
you can I respect you
stand-
lot for avidly trying to learn about the game.
Well, it's like
Where I
You go in and
stand-
you're not learning pieces. I know some people that go up there, and I've known them for nearly 10 years, and I've learned 20 times the information from 11 to 21 that they have, and they're like 30 now going on 40. I just think you're not there for the game anymore. You've lost sight about why you're there. And they'd rather be, again, like David said, the happy clappers and the tailgate goers. They'll do that for the next 20 years because it's fun. It has nothing to do with the game.
but there's
Miss
nothing.
Al, weren't you in that boat? Weren't you at one point the casual, if you will, that went there not really knowing much about soccer?
I just got into soccer. I want to say literally the World Cup right before we became
2014.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I started watching it. I saw the last season of Orlando City in the USL, and from there on,
Over there at Disney.
but I was hooked. I was hooked, and the first season I wasn't able to get season tickets. But I literally went to mostly every single game, just buying single game tickets. From the second season on in the MLS, I've been a season ticket holder. I can probably count how many games I've missed since we got into the MLS. I stand at the wall, and the amount of people at the game, every single game, in front of me, behind me, whatever, that are talking to each other, just yapping their mouths, and literally looking at each other, standing next to each other. They're not even looking at the game, which is their problem. I'm no one to tell anyone what to do, but it's just weird to me that you would spend your money and go there, and you're talking about something else the whole time. There's been times where just to mess around, I've yelled, watch the game," because they're just sitting there just yapping away, like, and they're literally just, you're on the wall. They're literally looking at each other, standing right next to each other. They're not even looking at the pitch. And just when they hear a roar is when they turn their heads, and it's just amazing.
It's like,
how can you come here and not pay attention? Like,
yeah, and Luke and I stand together in the wall at the matches, and there's a group of people. I'm not going to go any further than that. Luke's going to know who I talk about that annoy the living crap out of us, but they're engaged the whole game. And that's what. There's one game they were really getting under Luke's skin, and I'm like, but at least they're paying attention and know what's going on. At least they're engaged. They're doing they're doing something. But to my point, asking you that, Messiah, is there is a place for the casual fan, and even the casual fan that doesn't know what's going on, or the casual fan that does know what's going on and just wants to be there to watch a sporting event. There's always going to be a place for those people, you know, in a team, in a club, whatever, as a fan. And you think about like the Premier League, how many casuals go to those matches, you know?
Yeah, mainly in the Premier League because the hardcore fans can't afford their bloody
Oh, yeah.
they can't afford a ticket to save their lives.
That is very true. The Premiership has become so expensive that most of basically who you see when you see the full stadium mostly is people that are coming outside the country to see the teams,
Back,
especially those in hospitality. That right now it's close to £500 just get one of those tickets. Real quick, guys. The history with Chicago this season. At home, we lost 3-1 to them in May 31st. And when we went to Chicago, they got a red card and ended up. She's always quiet when the microphone is off, by the way. And then it ended up 0-0 May 3rd of this year.
I just
So
think she doesn't like these steps.
expectations, what's going to happen on Wednesday? 48 hours from now, our season may be over.
Yeah, man.
We win.
So,
I told you at the beginning of September, I don't like when you
You
say
did.
that. Earlier in the
when he
year,
says what?
you said we were getting 0 points. We ended up winning 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 that month. And then at the beginning of the season, you said we were taking 10 points with a draw against Cincinnati. And we ended up.
You got scared there because for a minute that was right.
You got the draw right. That's about it. The draw and the win against Nashville. We tanked the other 3 matches.
So
And Misael got the hat trick by Muriel. The one thing he did right this season.
That was nuts.
So if Luke doesn't know, and for those of you that don't know, if Misael or Ahmed could explain it, what we're talking about.
Go ahead, Misael.
Yeah. What was it before the season started? Was it or the practice? At
The hat trick.
Yeah, his.
I think it was at the open practice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Med's son says that Muriel was going to get a hat trick, and of course I said no. Which, by the way, I keep forgetting. I have a bad memory. I'm not trying to get out of it. I have a bad memory. Trust me. I told him if Muriel does get a hat trick, I will buy you his kid. And lo and behold, somehow he pulled it off.
Oh my gosh!
He's waiting. Ahmed, what he's waiting for is to see it at TJ Maxx or.
No.
Listen, let me tell you something. At this rate, that might not. At this rate, it might not. That might not be too far in the future. Oh my gosh!
My personal expectation for Wednesday is the way we've been playing. I want us to win. I hope we win, but there's no shot. Like I said, it could be the way we've played. We got lucky against Cincinnati, got lucky against Columbus. Really, the way we've played the last month and a half outside of that Nashville match, I see us losing and it not even being a competition by halftime.
Absolutely. I think there's not a single one of us here that doesn't want to see us move on, beat Chicago, and move on to Philadelphia. But the way we've been playing, the issues we've been having, if you think that we as a team are going to move on, beat Chicago, and then 3 days later play Philadelphia and beat them 2 out of 3 games, I would love to see that.
And
I really would.
The only optimism I have with this kind of what would you call it, like fixtures coming up, and we've kind of seen it. I think before with this playoff format, is that the playing game winner is normally in hot form. So they've just come off of a win. Meanwhile, the top seed is like not playing because they've got a bye or something like that. Isn't that right? They've got a bye
Yeah,
round.
yeah. 'Cause, we play Wednesday, and if we
Yeah.
win, we're going to their house on Saturday, which is exactly what happened to Atlanta last year. They won. They lost in originally in Miami. They went to Atlanta. They won that. They came back to Miami. They won that.
Yeah.
So
So we're in. If you want to be optimistic, really, you could say that if we go on to win that game, we're in a winning mood, and then we go into that game a bit more confident than we was before.
You could. You absolutely could. I agree.
If you
But
want to be
you look at what Atlanta did the last, I'll just say, 2 matches of the season last year. We'll just take the last month, little less than a month, and they got 7 points out of 7 points. My bad. 3, 6, 9 points out of 7 matches. You take our 7 matches. How many points do we get? Not many. They won their last 2 matches of the regular season against the Red Bulls and on the road against us. We've lost our last 2, drawn the 2 before that, won the 1 before that, lost 2 in a row in the Leagues Cup. So our form is not there. It'd be different maybe if we came away with a draw against Vancouver and a win against Toronto or some combination of that. But what our form has been this year is, or the end of the season, the last month, is not a form that makes you even remotely think that they're going to make a run in the playoffs. And it's just, it's not. And the only hope that we have, because have we won a match with Janssen without Janssen this year? I don't think we have.
He was training today. I don't know if he's going to start, but he was.
He was questionable on Saturday. I'm hoping it's just a sprain, which is usually, because I've sprained my knee, usually a week to 2 weeks that you're out for if it's a sprained knee. And trust me, a sprained knee, when you first do it, you think your knee exploded. For anybody that's ever done it, you know what I mean. But that's our only option. To go back to the match, since we never really covered it, I just, everybody's yelling at Marin for having a bad half. I didn't think he did that awful defensively. At the end of the day, he's a fullback. He shouldn't have to come up and help attack like we expect our fullbacks to. The fact of the matter is we have a left winger on his side of the field that is ineffective, has no, no finishing, no product in the final third whatsoever. Although that one shot he had was an absolute rip. I didn't know he had that in his boot. And then I also think it's funny that a couple weeks ago, I think it was in the match against Cincinnati, I went on Den After Dark and said how I found our, lack of finishing troublesome and was basically told I was wrong. Look at our stats from Saturday, from Saturday. Look at our stats against Vancouver.
But John, it'll be fine. We'll do well against Chicago.
if we manage to get out of the Windy City alive, I would like to remind everybody that our stats against Philadelphia this year was home opener, loss 4-2 at home, February 22nd, and April 5th, it was a 0-0 result in their house.
So we have 1 point from them.
That's it.
And then against Chicago, we have what? 1?
We're not doing well.
Yes, yeah, we got one because we lost at home, and in their house we got actually same thing, same situation as with Chicago, a goal fest at home, which we end up losing, and then we go to their house and it's 0-0.
Didn't they play here second? I thought.
With Chicago, it was 0-0 result. Philadelphia 0-0 result in their house, and then at home it was a goal fest, which both teams won.
This is a good indicator. It's not really a good indicator, but does anybody know how many teams we've done the double over this year? Have we done any double over?
Miami.
Miami.
I think
Is
that's
that it?
I think that's it. Yeah, absolutely, that's it.
I know Miami was because I remember the 3
Right,
0
because we laid an egg with Montreal, we laid an egg with Atlanta, Nashville, we
Yeah,
laid an egg
that
with
game
them.
I remember went back.
DC.
Yeah,
We should have won that one.
Charlotte, I think it was the same way. DC. Listen, to be honest with you, too late now, but I would have had loved to have the time to see how many points we drop with teams that are uh, 10th and below. But the reality is that we lost games that we had no business losing to those teams, and and on top of that, we had games where we were winning in the 80th minute, and then we allowed teams to come back. The game against Vancouver, we were leading. The game against, if I may, because I know it's already 10:33. The game against Atlanta to me was the one where I almost destroyed my TV. Who told Cesar Araujo that playing against Atlanta, and trying to grab somebody from behind where you don't
Oh,
see where your hand is going to end up at, was a right idea. Was a right idea. Listen, we lost that game based on idiocy, on fake bravado.
David.
How did that work out?
David.
Which, by the way, we don't know if Cesar is going to be here next year.
David, I will go back and I will die on this hill. He does not get that red card if we have any resemblance of possession for the 20 minutes before he got that. Defending for 20 minutes straight, like we have a lot of matches this year, for basically 20 minutes straight, because we don't hold possession, we don't clear our lines, and that takes a toll on you, not just physically but mentally, because you have to be absolutely locked in more than if you have possession. Because if you're in possession, you're basically just moving in the open space and seeing if anybody's around you. If you when the pass is coming to you, defensively you have to be locked in to make sure you're marking the right man, where the ball. Hundreds of factors on when you're defending. He does not get that. One should have never been a red card based on how MLS officials give out red cards, because we've seen much worse not even be given a card, not even be booked for it. And two, he doesn't get that if we're not defending for the basically 15, 20 minutes straight before that. That's where we lost the match. We didn't lose it because of a red card. The red card was a product of not being able to clear our lines, not being able to hold possession, to diffuse some of that pressure that Atlanta was giving. I think Atlanta scores and equalizes even without that red card because of the way we were playing. They should have equalized before that. If you recall in that game, they had a wide open man back post that whiffed. Or maybe shanked the shot, but either way, he didn't even put it on frame.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. This is the first time throughout the whole season that we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if we're gonna be celebrating next Monday or we're gonna be crying. On the final thoughts, I would like to thank everybody that has supported us this season. Everybody that says hello when they're running to us. It means the world. We do this simply because we love the club. So when people tell me to get out of their club, it hurts because I just love Orlando City, man. I really do. Has given me great friends, company included, not only here in this country but overseas. And I just want us to be good. And very disappointed at how the season ended. But we say it, and I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to steal the thunder of how we close the show. But we say those things not because it's cool, is because it's the solace that as a supporter we get, knowing that there's always next year and there's always next game. I would like to thank everybody that is watching us live, everybody that's gonna watch this later, everybody that's listening to us later on. I appreciate that. Follow us on social media, please. We pretty much are everywhere. Just give us a follow. And Next Monday, I'm gonna be in enemy territory. I'm gonna be in Fort Lauderdale. I gotta go for training
Ooh.
down to corporate. Anybody that knows how that goes, I just hate it, but it has to be done. Has to be done because I have to stay on top of FDA regulations. So I'll be in a hotel in Fort Lauderdale, probably angry, crying, excited. You're gonna have to
All of,
find out,
all of the above.
or all the above. Because we say it again. I'm not gonna say it but at the end, Ahmed will reveal to you how I may be on Monday. Thank you guys.
So
Appreciate it.
to go, I know we didn't. David asked some questions earlier, and we didn't really touch on them, and I wanted to touch on them real quick. I think the only way Poppy saves his job or should be able to save his job is with a run to the championship and a decent showing in that championship. Um, so yes, that's the only way he saves it. And then what was the first question that was asked on Instagram, David? I forget it right now.
If Yeah, one was how does the club and team, how does the club as a whole regain the trust of the fans? I'm gonna tell you, win.
When,
That's
but in the off season, I think he was more specifically referring to the off season.
right in the off season. I mean, probably a topic that we're gonna touch next Monday. We have a lot of players that are gonna be out. Victor asked, "Can we talk about how bad Pedro was this game?" Unfortunately, Victor, we ran out of time. But Pedro is one of the players that people are saying, "Hey, thank you very much. It's over. Let's roll our dice with Javier or somebody else." So it shall be interesting. To be honest with you, this questions about personnel, we're gonna address them on next Monday. Now that when we have a clearer picture, unfortunately, if we are out of it, the season's over. We should be getting notifications of who goes and who stays within 2 weeks. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I can tell you from several sources that the front office is fuming at where we are. It's not what they were expecting, and the cynic in me is like, well, you pay for this, so you should know. You know, if you go to KFC and you go to Chick-fil-A, you're buying chicken. It's just the experience on one side is better, and on the other one they will murder you for asking for extra sauce. That's how it usually is. So I don't
And I
want to hear
believe,
about it. You know what you paid for. Don't be surprised now.
and I believe this year that the season ends for teams not in the conference final on December 1st, I believe. Is that correct? This year? So
But they haven't released. I believe MLS Cup will be played early December, and
yeah,
'cause
so I
it's
think anybody that's not like last year, like there were a bunch of teams, most of there was only there's only four teams left. So those four teams, um, aren't going to make roster decisions, but the ones that aren't, usually you start hearing those the week of the conference final because
no, absolutely,
that's when the
absolutely.
conference or that's when the contracts run out the week
Right.
after.
The teams that are already out of it will release some
There's
players.
a specific. My point is there's a specific date the MLS has for
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and
absolutely,
I believe
absolutely.
it's December 1st this year.
Yeah, correct, correct. But as far as us, we have a list of players that are out of contract, and we'll talk about it, who goes and who stays and all that. But yeah, I feel that with Moreira's first year in command, he might just as well clear the decks and start anew. I think
I
that's
think at
my
this point,
recommendation.
especially if we don't make a championship a run to the championship, I think that's the only way you reinvigorate this fan base is by
Blank canvas.
basically cleaning house, bringing a new manager in, bringing a bunch of new players in, keeping some of the key pieces that we have, and really basically starting new and having something excited to be there for come the first match. Because I know if we come in with Poppy in charge and you know basically the new the same lineup except for maybe a draft pick or two that really excels in training camp, I'm not going to be excited for. I mean, I'll be excited that Orlando City's back, but it's going to be more of an excitement of I have something to do on the weekends other than go to Disney now. And it's not going to be the smell of a new season, because it's going to be the same thing we've seen the last 3-4 years, really.
Poppy has 1 year left, right?
2 years after this, per his extension.
No. Yeah, that you're correct, John. It'll be next year and the year after that.
Oh my lord.
Long 2 years ahead of us, lads.
So, gentlemen,
guys,
closing thoughts.
or
Closing thoughts.
your pride. I mean, Atlanta is eating 2 or 3 year contract on the guy that they just fucking. I'm sorry. God,
Yeah.
they just fired. You know.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think that this. I mean, hopefully they prove me wrong, but I don't think this ownership would do that.
Sometimes in business, and I've been in corporate business for a long time, done sales, done all that. Sometimes you gotta eat it. You gotta eat the loss, man. You gotta eat the loss. You gotta chop the infected finger to save the body. Sometimes you gotta do that. And it's easy for me to say that because I don't have $5 billion in the bank, or I don't own 90% of the real estate around the stadium, or have plans to develop that into a residential commercial district, and all that. But the fact of the matter is, my friends, if you're serious, I'm telling you, you're serious, because I am a diehard. I have a Orlando City house key. I don't have on my phone. It's Orlando City. It's not even my family, not even my kids, my children, not even on my phone. And in my toolbox has Orlando City stickers. My car. I am a diehard, and you know what? I already told myself next year we have the same crappy season. I'm not gonna renew my season tickets because the
So
only thing
Well,
that I
I
have
think
is
Jim,
my money to
Jim did bring up a good point earlier. And I feel like the club does owe Poppy to leave admirably. And I feel like
Absolutely.
if we hang on to him another season, and it goes the way the last 2 seasons have since 2023 when we finished second, you got to think we dropped 5 spots this year. We dropped 5 spots next year. We'll be second to last in the East. And then he leaves the villain. And
How do you?
I
How do you?
personally, for what Poppy brought us from, don't want him to leave in that way.
How do you? How do you do that though?
You amicably, the
You
quote
pull
would
one of
be
those
amicably
like.
agree to, step away or what have you. It's not going to be, a disgusting firing in the middle of the season when
Oscar's gonna find a
everybody's.
job. That's the thing, guys. Even college level, US, Oscar's gonna find a job. He's a good dude, and he can walk into a disaster and transform that into something presentable. But at the same time, it's like he comes into a fan base that for 5 years ate dirt, and then all of a sudden you lift a trophy. All of a sudden you make a final. All of this 2 finals, by the way.
And you got owners that are saying they're going to bring championships to the club.
Right, exactly. Listen, the same owners. This is what I hold the Wolves accountable. The same owners went and grabbed the Pride and make them a contender, winning the Shield and the championship and all that. And I have said it here many times. If we go and find the male versions of the players they signed last year for the Pride, maybe, just maybe, we will be here taunting people and
Well, that's going to be a bit difficult, I think, because you look at the state of the transfer market in compared to the men and
We're
Mm-hmm.
women.
not about to
By the
drop
way,
$500 million on a player, David.
yeah, and when you look at the Pride and they've got Ballon d'Or nominees, I don't see Orlando City getting a Ballon d'Or nominee anytime soon.
We can all dream, my friends.
We'll sign
You can
them.
dream, yeah.
He's still
Maybe
kind
the
of-
Ballon without the door.
There you go.
Oh my
But
gosh. All right,
Well,
gentlemen.
great
Closing
thing.
thoughts. Closing thoughts.
Win, baby. Our season in 48 hours. Win.
Yeah, I mean, to me, my closing thought, and because we didn't really get to it, is if the Wolves aren't willing to spend the money and just saying that our fans are going to our supporters are going to sit there and accept what's been happening. It's not going to happen, and they just need to sell the team
A good
because
thing.
you're the owners of a sports team, and you promised us championships when you bought it. Right now, you're not fulfilling that promise. So in my opinion, we have every right to consider your promise and your contract to owning this team null and void, and you guys should just hit the road because it's getting to the ridiculous point. You guys obviously aren't willing to spend money. You guys want to treat us like we're the Vikings and the generally nice people in Minnesota with their Midwest hospitality. Unfortunately, that's not it. This isn't the NFL. This is a completely different sport, and we expect greatness here. And we're not gonna we're not gonna take this for much longer. If you want to see 1,000 people in the stadium, then that's very quickly what you'll get because
Keep on doing what you're doing.
Keep
But
on doing what you do.
this is a funny. I was just thinking in my head. This is funny. I would rather, and you nailed it with all the other stuff around it, like your nights, all of that, and your complimentary stuff. I would rather sit on a bed of nails and watch us win football matches than sitting in a suite watching, crap.
You don't want to sit in the social. What's it called?
The prawn
Sideline,
cocktail
the
brigade.
sideline social. That's what you're talking
sideline
about.
social. Yeah,
Oh my God, Ron.
swivel chair.
That's where you take a first date. I'd rather be in the trenches.
I wouldn't take a
my
first
friend.
I wouldn't take a first date to a Orlando City game right now if my life depended on it.
Unless you want it to be the last date.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you
No,
don't
no,
want
the
to
most
talk
boring
about
that you're
first
gonna be
date of all
loyal.
time.
It shows that you're gonna be loyal and that you're willing to put up with a lot of crap.
Oh my
I bet
God.
you Orlando has helped people escape a lot of first dates that they didn't want to be on.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, let's wrap it up, man.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, Misael, final thought? Are you good? No.
Win, and what if we really are built to hunt?
Yeah. We
What
just
if
gotta
kept
we just
on?
gotta do better, man.
All
We
teeth,
just-
baby. All teeth.
all
Oh,
teeth.
geez, yeah.
They should have
What
just
if
brought
we
that
really are
back.
built-
Honestly, I think it would have been better. The built to hunt just backfired the minute all this happened because now we're literally hunting for a playoff spot. Is what we really are, right?
But
But
why do they
Yeah,
have to
that's why-
do it?
that's why-
they just,
But why do you
you
have
know what?
to
That's
do
a whole
it?
other.
They
That's a
thought
whole
they
other.
were that good to stay seventh, and then all of a sudden the bomb
You know
exploded
what?
in the
In all honesty, we should have. We should not be where we are right now.
I need to create one called the Search for Sixth.
Oh my gosh. All right. So with our poll right now stands at just a little bit over a 60-40 split. So 62% of everybody who responded, and thank you guys. I think this is actually pretty cool because it's been updating as we have been on throughout the show. So 62% of the people who responded said that we'll be out this first
Oh,
round
man.
against Chicago.
Oh, by the way,
And
I'm sorry,
38%
we
saying
got
that
some
we'll.
comments. I just don't want to
Oh,
leave
no.
them.
Let's bring them on. Yeah. Let's see here. Victor
one.
Rosa said that if they don't fire Oscar, hopefully they eat the cost and Muriel. And then
Please.
JJ goes on to say, but there's great players in Europe that can come over here cheap that will be good. The problem is we're going too much on South Americans that are not developed.
Hey,
Well,
man.
We're not even looking
Hey,
at our
JJ,
own.
I would like to say, JJ, you have been vindicated. Everything that you said at the beginning of the season, people laughed at you. People saying hate to. I know I get hated, but a good-looking guy like you shouldn't be getting that type of hate, and it has come to pass. And I want to say I'm so proud to call you my friend because if I were you, I will be right now in speedos, oiled up, aviator glasses, whiskey in one hand, a cigar on the other,
Whoa.
and flip flops, and going on every platform saying, "I told you so. I told you so." But JJ, thank you very much for being the humble person that you are. I don't have a humble bone in my body, but you called it. You called it in February, and here we are in October.
Gosh. Okay, so it's about 62 to 38 in favor of the Fire. Obviously,
Oh,
the
my God.
majority of the fans think similar to what we do based on the way that we've been playing. But you know what? Like we always say, this sport is cruel uh, and unpredictable. So who knows? Maybe in a couple of weeks from now, we'll be lifting the MLS Cup.
I really hope we're wrong.
Listen, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I
I'd
don't
just
have a
like to
I don't have a
reiterate.
DeLorean time machine in my garage. I don't know anything, but I base it based on what I've seen. And based on what I've seen, that's not going to happen. But
If
would I
that
love to be
happens,
wrong?
man, you are getting free season tickets.
All right.
And I will fight for you at the front. I will chain myself to the front door at the main office.
I'd just like to reiterate this. We do not want the team to lose.
No, but
We
it's not
don't.
realistic. It's not real. I mean,
Nobody
anything's
does.
possible.
We're on an Orlando fan podcast. I don't think any of us wants us to lose. Like, at all.
Anyway,
But we just want them to win. But win in a great fashion. And
absolutely.
win with great football. Like, I think some people or some people in the audience or listening or whatever or watching think that just because we sit here and give critical analysis on the team, we just want them to lose.
That's how you get better.
If you
It's the
think
only
if
way
you
you get
think
better.
if you think we want them to lose next season, watch. I'm pushing 40. I'm getting there. Watch Luke and I, and Luke's much younger than me. Watch Luke and I celebrate a goal.
I know, right? It's like I've won the
Feel
World
each
Cup.
other. I feel it in the morning.
All right.
I got to see this.
Yeah. We
Oh,
might need
it's
to do a video of that for the next intro, for next season's intro. All right.
no,
so-
we go crazy, and we give it all in matches, and when we're in the supporter section, and it's just when people say that we don't want to see this club succeed, I almost take it personal because
well, because you take the club personal.
but no, it's not even that. I legitimately hate losing more than I hate winning. I would
Absolutely.
rather, when I played, I would rather not play. Kind of like Luke said, how he said that he would rather lay on a bed of nails and watch them win than watch the crap we've had to watch this year. I feel that way too. I just want to see us win. I want us to get that get some stars over our crest, get a supporter shield, be a great club.
Be a respectful club as well, because there has been some dirty moments this season that we've produced, like just disciplinary wise,
Yeah.
like losing the plot, and that's not even acceptable either. Like, we can expect bad performances, we can accept bad performances sometimes, but immediately when you take it off the ball, and you just start getting stupid fouls and stupid yellow cards and
Wasting time in the 38th minute.
yeah, and stuff like that, it's not acceptable. As a fan group, we shouldn't accept it. As as season ticket holders, we shouldn't accept it. As fans of football, you shouldn't accept just lack of classiness. So I think we should also not only look what's on the pitch, on the ball, the team playing with the ball, but also just the disciplinary factor of, this. It's been short of disappointing. Because I think there has been so many games where it's like, not acceptable. I don't know. You guys,
Yeah,
can
like to me, those I don't know about you guys, but like, let's say like next season coming up, it's you basically know like in the East at least, like Cincinnati's going to be up there, Philadelphia, Columbus. I would like to be known as one of those teams where other people look and be like, hey, Orlando's going to be up there every single year. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't even think like that about ourselves because we're so inconsistent that it's just like, I don't know. You know those other teams are pretty much going to be there every single year. It's I would like
Yeah,
to
Well,
be at
we're
least
just
point
too
back to what I
inconsistent.
pointed back to about a month ago. The only thing we've been consistent on is not being clinical when finishing. And if you're not clinical when finishing, you're not going to win a lot of matches. The other thing we've been consistent on is when we get a lead, except for against Miami, we sit back. And even the first match against Miami, we did this. We just caught them on the counter twice. We sit back and defend for way too long, way too much of the match, and we don't take control of the match like winners do. Yes, if we're up, the other team's going to push hard and they're going to have spells of possession. But when we regain that possession, we need to treasure that ball like it is a priceless piece of gold. And we don't do that. We just kick it to the other team's goalkeeper, and then they recirculate the ball. Those are the two consistencies we've had all year. And if you're defending for the whole game, for most of the game, and you're not finishing your chances, you're not going to have a very successful season.
I really wish I found that stat because I think I mentioned this on the podcast last. Like, how many wins have we had where we went 1-0 down? Because I kind of remember it's probably been a few, and especially at home,
Mm-hmm.
where most of our wins have come probably when we're 1-0 down. And as fans, and we're sitting here, and I'm like saying, "Oh, please let us concede first." It just shouldn't be like that.
Early
It
especially.
should never be like that. It should never be, oh, please concede first. Please let us concede first so we don't sit back on our own half on a 1-0 lead and eventually equalize. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like we're going after the game, putting past 2, 3, or 4, and the only game we do that is into Miami. We should be
But
doing
even Miami,
every
the one at
single
home,
game.
when they scored their goal, we started to sit back, and then they
Yeah.
scored the equalizer early, and we
That's the only thing that saved us in that game is them
Yep.
equalizing early, so it forced us to go forward. Actually made us stand up and get up for the occasion. But we shouldn't play occasions. We should play football matches the same every single time, and that's bury your opponent
back to
until
the discipline.
bury your opponents until they no longer exist. And you're right, it is a lack of discipline. I think our players have got possibly too much freedom.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we are in extra time. I think that might be the new name of the podcast. After the 90 minutes podcast, we'll say we're in extra time.
Just add a plus at the end. In 90 plus minutes.
Yes, in 90 plus
Mhm.
minutes. Absolutely. So thank you to all of you this evening who have watched us and who have continued to watch us all season. We look forward to the remainder, or we look forward to the playoffs because we are not in the playoffs just yet. But we look forward to the playoffs. We look forward to a successful run in the playoffs. Hopefully, it's as deep as we can possibly take it. Or if not, we look forward to a great season next year. So we're gonna leave you the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck, which is sometimes on our side, sometimes not. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you ever really footballs? For John, David, Misael, Luke, and myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos,